Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Good morning and welcome to Storytime in the Woods. This morning it is quite noisy. I think if I stop talking that you'll be able to hear the cicadas. They kind of sound like a car alarm going off, maybe like 20 car alarms going off. It's quite loud for me, but I can't ask them to be quiet. This is just what they do, and they're going to be here for 2 weeks. So they're joining us today for Storytime in the Woods, and so are you. I'm so glad that you're here. I wanted to show you the cicada shell, one of the many of them that are on the tree right here next to me. Here is this little cicada, and they come out of the ground after 17 years, and they climb the tree or a piece of grass or something like that. And then they come out of their shell and they have wings, and then they fly about and they make all of this noise. And that's what I'm hearing now. I'm also hearing a lot of birds. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning. Friends, we're going to call the story fairies, and then I'm going to tell you the story of Maisie's new Mousie. Now, some of you all listening right now may have brothers or sisters. Some of you may be the oldest in your family. Some of you may be the youngest or somewhere in between. But every time a new sibling comes to a family, some things change a little bit, and it can be scary and exciting at the same time. Let's call those story fairies, and then I'll tell you the story of Maisie's new Mousie. Story fairies, come and bring stories clear and true. Story fairies, come and bring stories to our story ring. Once upon a time, Maisie the Mousie lived in a hollowed out tree log with her mom in the woods. It was just the two of them, just Maisie and her mama, and it had always been that way. They spent all day together and went everywhere and did everything together. In the morning, they woke up and made breakfast together. On Saturday mornings, they always made pancakes, and they had a recipe that made just enough batter for each of them to have 2 pancakes. And when they sat down at the table to eat, there were 2 chairs and 2 plates and 2 cups. And when they went to bed at night, in their room there were 2 beds. It had always been this way, and Maisie liked it like that. One day, Maisie and her mama were going for a walk, and Maisie's mom stopped and said, "Hey, Maisie, let's sit down here for a minute. I have something important I want to tell you." Well, this got Maisie's attention because her mama had never said anything like this before. And they sat down together, and Maisie's mama said, "Maisie, I have some exciting news to share. A new Mousie baby is going to come and join our family, and you're going to be a big sister. I just know that you're going to love being a big sister." And Maisie thought about it. She realized that she didn't think she was going to love being a big sister. In fact, she didn't think she was going to like it at all. She wasn't sure she was ready to share her house and her toys with someone else. Maisie felt a mixture of confusion and upset, and so she went to her sit spot in the woods. Her sit spot was where she liked to go when she was feeling upset or angry and confused. It helped her to calm down. The bugs are getting loud. Maybe the cicadas were in the woods that day when Maisie was there. So Maisie was sitting there in the woods in her sit spot, and she was thinking about everything. And that's when she realized they only had 2 of everything. They only had 2 chairs and 2 cups and 2 plates and 2 beds and enough of a recipe to make 2 pancakes for each of them. And then Maisie realized something else, though. She realized that there was only one mama. She definitely didn't want to share her mama. And that's when Maisie started to cry. When creatures of the forest cry, Mother Earth hears them, and she comes and comforts them. And as soon as the first tear that had rolled out of Maisie's eye had hit the ground, Mother Earth was there next to her. "Oh, Maisie, my dear," said Mother Earth, "tell me what's wrong." And then Maisie told Mother Earth everything. How her mama had told her about a new baby Mousie coming, and how she didn't want to share her toys or her house, and especially her mama. And that's when she started to cry again. Mother Earth said, "Maisie, may I give you a hug?" And Maisie nodded and squeaked a little yes, and Mother Earth wrapped her arms around Maisie. The two of them sat there together, and they didn't say anything. "Maisie," Mother Earth said, "getting a new sibling can be hard, but it also comes with a lot of gifts." And Maisie couldn't think of any gifts that could possibly come with having a sibling, and this made her feel mad, and she started to pound her little paws into the dirt. Mother Earth put her hand gently on Maisie's back and said, "Maisie, there are indeed gifts to being a sibling, and I want to show you 3 of those today. Come with me." Maisie trusted Mother Earth, and she went with her. And the first place Mother Earth brought her to was a meadow. In the middle of the meadow, there were 3 sheep, and they were chasing each other and running and rolling and laughing. The sounds of their laughter was echoing off the mountain, and Maisie and Mother Earth sat there and watched them for several minutes. Mother Earth said, "Maisie, I've known these 3 sheep since they were but wee little lambs, and I've watched them grow up here in this meadow together. Their favorite thing to do is to come out here and chase each other and play games, and I often hear them laughing." As Maisie watched them, she couldn't help but smile. And then Mother Earth turned to her and said, "Maisie, this is the first gift of having a sibling that I want to show you. Play." And they watched for a couple more moments, and then Mother Earth led Maisie to the second spot. They walked into a pine forest, and as soon as they entered the forest, Maisie could hear the chattering of squirrels. She looked up into the pine tree in front of her, and there, sure enough, were 2 squirrels chasing each other around the tree. And they got to a little flat part in the branch, and the 2 of them sat together, and they leaned their heads toward one another. It looked like they were talking and planning something. And then one of them went into a hole in the tree and grabbed some nuts, and the 2 of them were off again. Mother Earth turned to Maisie and said, "Maisie, I've known these 2 squirrels since they were newborns. When a baby is first born, it can't really play yet, but it doesn't take long until your sibling will become your favorite playmate. And these 2 not only love to play, but they love to plan and work and build, and I often see them out here working on how to build tree houses together." As they sat there and watched, something in Maisie's heart opened up, and she realized that she'd always wanted to have a friend. Mother Earth turned to Maisie and said, "Maisie, this is the second gift of being a sibling. Friendship." And after another moment or 2, the 2 of them walked out of the forest, and they walked up on a hill overlooking a prairie. There was only one tree in the middle of the prairie, and under that tree there were 2 cows. These animals were much older than the other siblings they had seen. The cows were leaning close to each other under the tree and looking out in the opposite direction, away from Maisie and Mother Earth. Maisie couldn't tell if they were talking or not. She could tell they were comfortable. Mother Earth put her hand on Maisie and said, "Maisie, I've known these 2 cows since they were teenagers. They grew up here on a farm, here on this prairie. And they no longer live together, but they come back every now and then and meet and talk about their lives. And when one needs the other, they go to their new home, they're always there for each other. And that feeling that had opened in Maisie's heart when she was watching the squirrels, it started to feel so warm and bright. Mother Earth looked at Maisie as Maisie was looking out at the cows, and she said, "Maisie, this is the third gift I want to show you of being a sibling. Love." And Maisie liked watching them and made her feel comfortable and happy and at peace. But after a few minutes, Mother Earth stood up and said, "Maisie, we need to be getting you home before your mother worries about you." So the two of them walked back through the pine forest and across the meadow to Maisie's house. Maisie's mom came out to meet them, so glad to see her little mouse. Mother Earth waved goodbye, and Maisie said, "Mama, Mama, Mother Earth showed me all of the gifts of being a big sister." And then the two of them sat down together while Maisie told her mom all about it. And then the sun set into the mountain and the sky turned that orangey red that it does at night. And Maisie's mama said, "Let's go inside and have some dinner." And on their way in, Maisie said, "Mama, we're going to have to get another chair and bed and plate and cup, and also figure out a new recipe for pancakes." Maisie's mom looked at Maisie, and she smiled, and her eyes twinkled. And she said, "Yes, my love, we will." And all was well in the world. Friends, that's the story of Maisie's new Mousie. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being out here on this warm day in the cool shade of the trees with the song of cicadas and birds joining me, and especially with you here too. Thank you for being here. You're my favorite part of Storytime in the Woods. Friends, know that you are loved.